And welcome back to another debriefing. Please be sure to subscribe and like if you appreciate this content. We need your support to continue growing this channel. The primary reason or goal of Vladimir Putin's military's coordinated mass attacks on Ukraine's electric power grid is not to break the will of the Ukrainian people so they will simply give up and surrender to the Kremlin. Like many of the talking heads of various online and mainstream media have repeatedly stated. As intelligence analysts like former career U.S. Army military intelligence analyst Major Pat McGlenn tells the debriefing, that logic is severely lacking. He pointed out that the already stoic character and resolve of the Ukrainian people was hardened by the discovery of mass graves in areas where Russian troops have been forced to withdraw, as well as the general barbaric nature of Putin's military, which has and continues to deliberately slaughter civilians, men, women, children, and, disturbingly, even pregnant women. Although Putin stated, following a recent mass attack in which civilian targets were bombed, that his objective was to strike civilian targets to weaken the Ukrainians' morale, the military math, the military logic of that just doesn't add up. Why? Well, because Russia is rapidly using up its valuable and prized stockpiles of costly and limited number of ballistic missiles, which cannot immediately be replaced because Russia's manufacturing and supply chain has been severely crippled, and kamikaze drones purchased from Iran. This to achieve the propagandistic purpose of breaking the will of Ukraine's citizenry? It just doesn't make any sense. But there is a much more reasonable argument that does make sense for why Putin wants Ukraine's electric power grid destroyed. And it's a reason no one seems to be talking about. For the Kremlin, there is only one reason that makes any military sense for it to be focused on attacking Ukraine's electric power grid with its dwindling stockpile of ordnance. And that is, it's an effort to degrade Ukraine's armed forces' logistical support infrastructure appreciably and extensively. The logic behind this argument is this. Ukraine has numerous railway-related problems that is restricting its logistical support to the front lines because, one, it has two different gauges of rail tracks, and two, half of them are electrified. Ukraine, like all countries in the former Soviet Union, uses a 5-foot broad gauge for its railways, while neighboring European Union member nations use a narrower standard gauge. This gauge mismatch causes a significant amount of unloading and reloading of essential warfighting materials, thereby impeding the swift delivery of these essential war supplies to Ukraine's warfighters. The smaller standard rail gauge is also shared with Poland, Romania, Slovakia, and Hungary, the same European Union countries that are being used by NATO to stage weapons, troops, and supplies to be shipped primarily by rail to Ukraine's warfighters. In addition to the persistent delays this gauge mismatch causes in delivering essential warfighting material, trains are also having to operate at reduced speeds to minimize casualties in the event of a derailment caused by air or artillery attacks, as well as having to adhere to strict blackout rules at night that reduces track visibility. And as the winter snows begin, these problems are only going to be exacerbated. But the Achilles heel of the Ukrainian rail system is that almost half of its 19,787-kilometer main track running length relies on electrified tracks as a means of propulsion. Therefore, if Russia succeeds in shutting down Ukraine's electrical grid, the Ukrainian armed forces will potentially lose half of its logistics transportation capability, thereby surrendering the initiative it has gained over the Russian military and having to once again be on the defense, whereas today it has the offensive upper hand. The Ukrainian armed forces would find it increasingly challenging to hold on to the hard-won territory it has retaken from Russia and now occupies. Soldiers need food, trucks need petrol, and cutting-edge Western weapon systems still need artillery shells and missiles to do their job. Until next time, be safe, well, and frosty out there.
My name is Robert Kaiser. I'm the CEO of PPSS Group, and I absolutely trust the next generation of our high-performance body armor. And so can you.